Uh, okay, so picture the scene. It is the end of a really long night.
Right.
Maybe you were at a stadium and your team just got completely crushed, or maybe you're at a concert and the house lights just slammed on, blinding you.
Yeah, the worst feeling.
Or, maybe you were at a dinner party that went horribly wrong. Someone flipped a table and now you are just standing in the driveway. The mood is heavy.
Awkward.
Exactly. It's awkward. You need something to cut the tension. You need a phrase that definitively says, this is over, go home.
And inevitably, someone says it. Elvis has left the building.
Yes. Whatever tension was in the room just kind of dissipates. It is the ultimate punchline. It's the period at the end of the cultural sentence.
We use it for absolutely everything now.
Right. Baseball home runs, video games, bad dates. But here's the thing that really caught me off guard when we started digging into the Wikipedia archives for our source material today.
Mm-hmm.
We treat this phrase like it's a joke or like it was some brilliant marketing slogan cooked up by a genius publicist in a high-rise office.
And the reality is just so much grittier than that. I mean, it wasn't marketing. It wasn't a joke at all. It was pure panic.
Panic.
Absolute, unadulterated panic. It was a crowd control device. Honestly, it was a fire extinguisher in verbal form.
So that is our mission for today's deep dive. We are going to take this phrase that everyone knows, or at least thinks they know, and trace it back to the exact moment it was born.
Which is a wild story.
It really is. We are talking about a chaotic night in Louisiana in 1956, a promoter who was about to lose his mind, and how a desperate plea to stop a riot somehow morphed into the way we say goodbye.
And if you really look at it, this isn't just a story about Elvis. It is a story about closure. It's about how desperate we are as humans to know that the show is actually over.
Well, let's go find that closure then. Take us back. We are in Shreveport, Louisiana. The date is December 15th, 1956. What does the room feel like?
The room feels like a powder keg. This is the Louisiana Hayride. Now, for people who don't know, the Hayride was an absolute institution. It was country music's proving ground. It was conservative, family-friendly, Saturday night entertainment.
And then you drop 1956 era Elvis Presley right into the middle of that. That feels like mixing oil and water.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, they had to move the venue. Usually they were at the Municipal Memorial Auditorium. Nice, respectable place.
Right, a theater.
But because Elvis was on the bill, the ticket demand was just insane. They had thousands of teenagers screaming for tickets. So the organizers moved the show to the Hirsch Memorial Coliseum on the State Fairgrounds.
Okay, so now we are in a coliseum, bigger crowd, louder acoustics.
And a totally different vibe. This wasn't a polite theater anymore. It was a cavernous sports arena filled to the brim with hysteria. And here is the logistical nightmare that I think a lot of people miss. Elvis wasn't the headliner.
Wait, hold on. It's December 1956. Heartbreak Hotel has been out for nearly a year. He is the biggest star on the planet. Why on earth would you not have him close the show?
It seems like management malpractice, doesn't it?
It really does.
But you have to remember the format of the Hayride. It was a variety show. They had a roster of regulars, country singers, bluegrass bands, comedians.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had a rigid structure. They slotted Elvis in right in the middle of the second half.
Oh, man. I see where this is going. So he comes out, does his set, shakes his hips, drives the crowd into a total frenzy, and then just leaves.
But the show isn't over. There are other performers waiting in the wings. Poor guys with acoustic guitars who have to follow the atomic bomb that was Elvis Presley.
That is a death slot. Nobody wants to hear a banjo after they have just seen the king.
Precisely. So Elvis finishes his set, the curtain drops, and the crowd, they don't move. They don't sit down.
They just keep going.
They are screaming. They are surging toward the stage. They are completely convinced that if they make enough noise, he will come back out.
And meanwhile, the rest of the show is just grinding to a halt.
The show is dead in the water. You cannot send the next act out there. They'll be booed off the stage or completely ignored. The noise level is deafening. It's chaos.
Enter Horace Logan.
The man of the hour. Horace Logan was the show's producer and the main MC. He's watching this unfold, and he realizes he is actively losing control of the building.
It's getting dangerous.
Exactly. This isn't just about a schedule anymore. It's about safety. He needs to break the spell.
So what does he do?
He grabs the microphone, and he doesn't use his showbiz voice. He doesn't say, "Stay tuned for more." He uses his dad voice. He uses the voice of authority. And I want to look at the specific words he chose here, because this wasn't poetry. It was evidence.
I actually have the transcript right here. It is fascinating because you can almost hear him sweating through the words. He says, all right, Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point. You know that.
Yeah.
He has left the building. He left the stage and went out the back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building.
Notice the specific details there. With the policeman. Out the back.
Yeah, why include that?
Because the crowd was skeptical. They thought it was a trick. They thought Elvis was hiding behind the curtain, just waiting for the applause to get louder. Logan had to provide forensic proof.
Right.
He had to say, look, he's not just gone. The cops took him away. He is physically not in the zip code anymore.
It's the I've told you absolutely straight up part that gets me. It sounds like he is bargaining with a toddler. I'm not lying to you. He is really gone.
It is exactly that dynamic. He needed to puncture the fantasy. The crowd was living in a fantasy where the concert goes on forever. Logan had to be the reality check. Elvis has left the building. Wasn't a catchphrase yet. It was a factual statement designed to lower the heart rates of 10,000 teenagers so the banjo player could finally come out.
And it worked?
Eventually, yeah. The crowd realized, okay, the policeman took him. It's over. And they sat down. The show went on. Logan wiped the sweat off his forehead and probably thought, well, I am never saying that again.
Little did he know.
Right, because that phrase, it had power. It had a rhythm to it. Elvis has left the building. It's almost iambic. It bounces. And because Elvis was, well, Elvis, the phrase followed him.
So it moves from a riot control tactic to something a bit more ceremonial. When does that shift actually happen? Because surely they didn't keep using it to stop riots every single night.
Not riots, no. But the encore problem never went away. Elvis fans always wanted more. So the phrase started to travel with the show. According to the archives, we see a major turning point in 1961 at a benefit concert for the Pearl Harbor Memorial.
A benefit concert sounds a lot more civilized than the Hayride.
A little bit, but the ritual was the same. Elvis closes with Hound Dog. The band hits that final crashing chord, and then, over the PA system, you hear it. But this time, it's not desperate. It's definitive. It has become part of the show.
It's almost like the closing credits of a movie.
Exactly. And by the 1970s, it's fully codified. You have Dvorin, who is the announcer on the road with Elvis. He's the one who really made it iconic.
But with the voice?
Yes. He had this deep, booming voice. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building. At that point, it's a branding element. It's the seal of authenticity.
I love the detail in the source material about the backup singers, too.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah, in the later years, sometimes the backup singers would chant it or say to the crowd to calm them down. It feels like it transitioned from security announcement to absolute gospel truth.
It became liturgy. It was the benediction at the Church of Rock and Roll. But here is where the utility of the phrase gets really interesting. Because if it had just stayed with Elvis, it would have died with him in 1977.
But it didn't.
No, it jumped the fence.
It went mainstream.
It went universal.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is that we as a culture just love a dramatic exit. And who loves a dramatic exit more than sports?
Oh, absolutely. Sports is entirely about the buzzer, the final out, the clock hitting zero.
Right. And broadcasters are always looking for new, colorful ways to say it's over.
The notes bring up baseball, which makes perfect sense geometrically. The ball leaves the stadium, Elvis leaves the building, it works. But the one that I think fits the actual spirit of the phrase best is hockey.
Why hockey?
Because hockey is chaotic, it's fast, it's violent, it's loud. It is much closer to that 1956 Hayride energy that a big baseball game is. You have Mike Lange, the legendary broadcaster for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
A true master of the catchphrase.
He would use it to seal a home win. Elvis has left the building. And in that context, it's triumphant. It's not, please go home. It's, we won, go home.
It is a victory lap, but you can flip that coin too. You can use the phrase to be the villain.
We are talking wrestling now, aren't we?
We are definitely talking wrestling.
Yeah.
The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Okay, for people listening who aren't wrestling nerds, which, shame on you, by the way, Shawn Michaels had this period where he was the ultimate heel, the bad guy.
Wow.
He was arrogant, he was vain, he was obsessed with his own looks.
And he used a variation of the phrase. He'd say, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, has left the building.
That is such a jerk move. I love it so much.
It is. It is weaponizing the exit. He is telling the crowd, I am the star. You paid to see me. And now that I'm gone, this show is worthless. He's channeling that original Elvis energy. The idea that the star is bigger than the venue, but he's using it specifically to make you hate him.
It's amazing how elastic this single sentence is. You can use it to stop a riot, you can use it to celebrate a hockey game, or you can use it to insult 20,000 wrestling fans.
And that elasticity is exactly why it survived. But, and this is the part of the research that really made me laugh, sometimes the elasticity snaps.
We're getting into the mutations now, the really weird stuff.
The mutations. Because once a phrase becomes this famous, people start messing with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they trip right over it.
You are definitely thinking of the Dennis Cometti moment.
I have to be honest, this is one of my all-time favorite moments in broadcasting history.
Okay, set the scene for us. This is Australian football, right?
Australian rules football. A sport that is already chaotic enough on its own. You have a match where a player named Nicky Winmar is playing. Now, crucially, Nicky Winmar's middle name is Elvis.
Nicky Elvis Winmar.
Okay, so Winmar gets tackled. A massive player named Paul Salmon, they called him, the big fish, crashes down on top of him. It's a huge pileup. They are slowly untangling themselves. And Dennis Cometti, the commentator, sees this. He knows Winmar's middle name. He thinks, I'm going to make the greatest pun of my entire career.
I can just see the gears turning in his head.
He wants to say something like, the building has landed on Elvis, or Elvis is under the building. But in the heat of the moment, his brain just completely short-circuits.
And what actually comes out?
He says, with total confidence, just as Winmar landed, Big Salmon came crashing down on top of him. They're slowly getting up, and now I can report the building has left the Elvis.
The building has left the Elvis.
It is magnificent nonsense.
It sounds like a surrealist painting. The building has left the Elvis. Like, did the stadium just stand up and walk away from the man?
But the funny thing is, everyone knew exactly what he meant. The cultural reference is so strong that even when you mangle the syntax completely, the listener's brain autocorrects it. You know he means, the big guy got off the little guy.
That is the power of a true idiom. You can break it into pieces, and it still works.
Exactly. But then you have artists who break it on purpose. We can't ignore the music world.
Well, of course not. Musicians are always going to reference the king.
Mm-hmm.
But the tone varies so much. You have Frank Zappa, for instance.
Zappa, the ultimate satirist. He has a song from 1988 called Elvis Has Just Left the Building. But knowing Zappa, he's not paying tribute. He is making fun of the worship. He's mocking the idea that we treat these pop stars like literal deities.
And the band Dire Straits did something too, right?
Yes, on their track, Calling Elvis. Mark Knopfler actually sings the line, did he leave the building? It's used almost like a mythic question there.
And then you swing all the way to something like Tyler, the Creator.
That was a really jarring find in the source material.
Yeah, this is on his track window. He says the line, but it's not funny, and it's definitely not reverent.
No. In the song, the line is followed immediately by the sound of a gunshot and screaming.
Oof. That is heavy.
It recontextualizes the exit entirely. Leaving the building isn't going back to the hotel. It's death. It is the final exit.
Which is actually how a lot of people use it now, right? If an old celebrity dies, you see the headlines, Elvis has left the building.
It has become a euphemism for mortality, which is a pretty heavy load for a phrase that started with a guy just trying to clear a dance floor.
Speaking of heavy loads, we have to talk about Grand Theft Auto 2. Because if Tyler, the Creator, was dark, this is just bizarre.
This is the absolute peak of video game dark humor.
So in GTA 2, there is a literal line of Elvis impersonators walking down the street.
Yes. A conga line of Elvises in their full white jumpsuits, and the game gives you a secret challenge. If you can run them all over, kill every single one of them in under 5 seconds.
No way.
A text flashes on the screen that says Elvis has left the building, and you get a massive point bonus.
That is so deeply cynical.
It is. But think about what it represents. In 1956, the goal was to preserve the safety of the fans and the artist. In the video game, the goal is to destroy the icon. You get rewarded for wiping Elvis off the map.
It's pure deconstruction. You are literally running over pop culture to get a high score.
And then you have God Hand, that cult classic fighting game.
Where they just straight up name a villain Elvis.
Right. And when the character Bells defeats him, he says, Elvis has left the building. It's unavoidable. It's like a law of physics at this point. If a character is named Elvis and he leaves or dies, someone simply must say the line.
It is so fascinating to see how far we've traveled. We started with Horace Logan in a sweaty fairgrounds coliseum, pleading with teenagers, and now we are running over pixelated impersonators in a video game.
But the core need hasn't changed.
What do you mean?
Why do we love this phrase? Why do we use it in games, in sports, in arguments?
Because we crave closure.
Think about the modern world for a second. Think about how messy our lives are. Relationships drift apart without a clear breakup conversation. Work emails come in at 11 p.m. The news cycle never, ever stops. We are constantly in a state of on.
That is really true. There is no the end card anymore.
Exactly. But Elvis has left the building that is definitive. It is an authority figure stepping up to the mic and telling you, stop waiting. It is done. Go home. That is a very comforting thing to hear in a chaotic world.
Horace Logan gave those kids permission to stop screaming.
He gave them permission to let go.
That's actually kind of beautiful. We are all just looking for someone to tell us we can stop screaming and go home.
But here is the problem, and this is the thought I want to leave you with today.
Hit me.
We mentioned the internet earlier. The internet is the ultimate building that never closes. You can log off, but the timeline keeps scrolling. The notifications keep piling up. Your digital self is still there, even when you are sleeping.
Oh, man. I see where you're going with this.
In a world of constant digital connection where no one ever really leaves, do we still have moments final enough to earn this phrase? Or has the building simply become too big to leave?
Wow. That is terrifying. We are all just trapped in the lobby waiting for an encore that's never going to happen.
And the policemen aren't coming to escort us out. We have to find the exit ourselves.
Well, on that existential bombshell,
Yeah,
I think it is time for us to find our own exit.
I think so too.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive. We will catch you next time.
Goodbye.
The hosts have left the building.